Well, children, yesterday we started with term 2 portion and we started with lesson number 6. Lesson number 6, the title of the lesson is the three questions. In the previous class, we got to know about the king and his three questions. So people were invited from different places to come and answer the questions. The king declared anyone who gives it the correct, accurate answer will be rewarded, will be rewarded. So in this process, the questions were, what's the right time to begin everything? Second question, who are the right people to listen to? And the third question, what's the most important things to do? So these were the three questions asked by the king. So there were four talented people who had come to answer this question. So each one turn wise, one by one, they gave their opinion to the questions asked by the king. However, the king was not satisfied with the answer. So, the four talented people, the four learned people, they answered the first and the second question. So, the king, however, was not at all happy with the answers. Whatever answers they gave, each one gave their own opinion. Each one was correct according to their own opinion. But the king was not happy. The king was not happy. So he got irritated, he was frustrated. Page number 47. Page number 47. Second line. King visibly irritated.
And page number
47. King visibly irritated. And what about the answers to my third question? What about the answers to my third question? Learned man 1. He says, the most important thing in the world is science. So, according to the learned man, the first learned man, the third answer for the third question, he says, the most important thing in this world is science. Science. Learned man 3. Skill in warfare is most important. So the third person says skill in warfare, that is training given to soldiers to fight wars. So that is very important. So skill in warfare is more important. Then the second man says, I think it is religious worship. So the third man, third talented man says, I think it is religious worship. That is devotion. You have to worship God, prayer, and you have to be very prayerful. That is, we should respect God. We should honor God. King, no, no, no. Your answers are all different. I shall reward none. So the king was not happy with the answers given by the talented or the expert man who had come. And he says he will not reward anyone. Nobody is going to get any reward because I am not satisfied with the answers you have given. No, no, no. Your answers are all different. I shall reward none. I shall consult the hermit I have heard so much about. Now, hermit here again is the holy person, a sage, a sannyasi, a sadhu. So the king says, I'm not happy with your answers. I'm going to go and meet the hermit and ask the questions, and the hermit will answer my questions. He must be able to give me the answers. I must visit him at his hut in the wood. In the wood, in the sense, in the forest. Mostly the holy people, the sannyasis, the sages, the sadhus, They live in the forest away from the village life or the town life or the city life. They always live in the forest so that they can do meditation and spend more time praying to God. Says, I must visit him at his hut in the wood. And then he pauses and speaks, looking at the audience. I must wear simple clothes and leave my bodyguard behind when I meet him at his hut in the wood. So the king decided now to go and meet the hermit in the forest. But what did he do? He doesn't want to go there like a king. He doesn't want to show that he's a king. He's come with some questions. So he decides he will disguise himself. Disguise in the sense he's going to leave all that whatever he's wearing, like what usually what the kings dress up. Dress up very richly with all ornaments and all those things. So he decided he will not go there as a king, but he will go there as a common man, like how I and you we dress up. We are common people. So the king decided that he will go there as a common man. I must wear, I must wear simple clothes and leave my bodyguards behind when I meet when I meet him at his hut in the wood. I must meet him alone there. So he doesn't even want to take his bodyguards, his soldiers, his set of people who always go with him when he goes out. And the guards prepare. Now, scene one is over. So, this is all that happened in scene one. The king had three questions. He invited many talented people, and those talented people tried to answer his questions, but he was nowhere satisfied with the answers and he does not reward anywhere. And finally, he decides to go and meet a hermit, that is a saint or a holy person in the forest. And there he decides to go as a common man, not like a king. Now we start with scene 2. This is scene 2. In a wood in front of the hermit's hut, besides some dug out mud. So now this is scene 2 where the king goes to the forest to meet the hermit and he finds everywhere there is pits dug. Hermit is the sadhu or the sage. Hermit coughs, spade in hand. Coughs again. The hermit continues to dig the ground. He is weak. Each time he sticks his spade into the ground and turns a little earth. He breathes heavily, enters king dressed like a common man. So the hermit is digging the earth and is very old and is very weak. And every time he is digging the earth with the help of the spade, he coughs and he breathes very heavily. This shows that he is very aged and he's very weak and he's unable to do the work. King, going close to the hermit, I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you three questions. So he goes very close to the hermit and he says, I have come to you. I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you three questions. What's the right time to begin everything? Who are the right people to listen to? And what's the most important thing to do? So these were the three questions asked by the king. That's what's the right time to begin everything? Who are the right people to listen to? And what's the most important thing to do? So he asked the hermit this question. The hermit listens to the king but answers nothing. He breathes heavily and recommences digging. So the hermit he heard what the king in the common man's disguise. He tells the questions, the three questions. The king heard the three questions, but he did not answer anything. He never answers the king and he continues the digging process. He continues digging the earth. King, you are tired. Let me take the spade and work a while for you. When the king sees the hermit, the holy man, He was tired, he was weak, he was old, he was coughing, he was breathing very heavily. He said, "You are tired. Let me take the spade and work a while for you." He said, "Now it's time for you. You take rest. I will dig the earth for you. I will dig the mud for you. Meanwhile, I work, you take rest." King, "You're tired. Let me take the spade and work a while for you." Hermit, "Thanks." He gives the spade to the king and sits down on the ground. The king digs two beds. Two beds in the sense, two rows. Two beds in the sense, not a bed that we sleep. Your beds means two rows. Where the hermit had instructed him, he dug two rows. Hermit, "Now rest a while and let me work a bit." So after the king, he had dug two rows. After the king had dug two rows, now the hermit says, "Now you take rest. Now you take rest and I will dig." But the king continued to dig. Change light to show, slowly the day gives away to the meaning, to the evening. Take a minute to show this change. The king at last stuck the spade into the ground. So the hermit tells the king to give away the spade back, and he tells him to take rest because it started getting evening. It started becoming evening. So the hermit tells the king to take rest and I will continue the digging because it is since long that you are doing this work and you also must be tired. King, I came to you, wise man, for answers to my questions. I came to you, wise man, for answers to my questions. If you can give me If you can give me none, tell me so. I'll return home. Now the king is become very impatient. The king is become very restless. He wants to get the answers and go back to his kingdom. He wants to go back to his house. So he's asking the hermit, I came to you, wise man, for answers to my questions. If you can give me none, tell me so, and I'll return home. So he's asking the hermit, if you don't have the answers to my questions, if you don't have answers to my questions, please tell me. I will go back home. I will go back to my family. Hermit. Here comes someone running. Let's see who it is. So when they were discussing, when they were talking, the hermit points out to somebody. Somebody comes running there, and the hermit says, "Here comes someone running. Let's see who it is." They see a bearded man. They see a bearded man coming running out of the wood. He is bleeding heavily and falls fainting on the ground, moaning weakly. They see a man coming running from the forest and he was bleeding from the stomach and he was unable to speak and he was breathing, he was breathless, he was getting breathless and he fell unconscious. He fell giddy, he fell unconscious and he fell down on the ground. King, oh, he's bleeding heavily. He will die if we can't stop the bleeding. So the king observes that the man was bleeding from his stomach. The man who had a wound in his stomach. The man had a wound in his stomach. He was bleeding. King says, oh, he's bleeding heavily. He will die if we can't stop the bleeding. The king and the hermit unfasten the man's clothing and see a large wound in his stomach. The king washes and bandages it. So the king and the hermit they remove his clothes. Unfasten in the sense they remove his clothes from his body because he had a wound in his stomach and it was bleeding very badly. And if they had not stopped the bleeding, the man would die soon. So the king and the hermit they removed all his clothes. The king himself washed his wound and he applied some medicine given by the hermit and he bandaged the wound. King, finally, it has stopped flowing. The meaning, the king says, finally, it has stopped flowing. What was flowing? The blood from the man's body. The blood from the man's body. He was wounded in his stomach. So they cleansed it, they applied medicine, they bandaged, so it stopped bleeding. It stopped bleeding, and the king was happy that he saved somebody's life. The bearded man, water, water. So the bearded man regained his sense, his conscious, and he said, water, water. The king exits and comes back with water. So the king, he goes inside and he comes with a tumbler of water or a pot of water. He brings water for the bearded man. King, let me take you to the hut. Have some rest and you will feel better. So the king now decides that the man needs a proper rest. He's very weak. He says, let me take you to the hut. Have some rest and you will feel better. With the hermit's help, the king carries the wounded man into the hut. So the king and the hermit carry the man into the hut so that he takes rest for some time so that he regains little energy. So scene 2 is over. In scene 2, we see a man coming running, wounded man. The king and the sage help him, assist him, clean his wound, bandage it, and gives him water to drink, and they put him to sleep inside the hut. Now, this is scene 3. This is scene 3. Scene 3. It is morning time now. The night is past, night is over. This is morning, so this is scene 3. Morning time in the wood in the hermit's hut. The king wakes up in the morning. The king wakes up in the morning. He sees the bearded man lying on the bed, gazing intensely at him. The hermit walks into the room. Yes, this is the third scene, and it is night is over. It is morning, and the king is still sleeping. He wakes up from his sleep. The king wakes up from his sleep. The king wakes up in the morning and he sees the bearded man lying on the bed, gazing intently at him. The hermit walks into the room. So the king wakes up from his sleep and he sees the wounded man in front of him who's looking at him, continuously looking at him, staring at him. And during that time, the holy man, the sage, enters the hut. Bearded man, in a weak voice to the king. So the bearded man is confessing something, is telling something to the king. Bearded man, in a weak voice to the king. Forgive me. Forgive me. You don't know me. I am that enemy of yours who swore to revenge myself on you because you put my brother to death and captured his property. So the bearded man with joined hands, okay, he was asking for forgiveness. He was asking for forgiveness and he was feeling very sorry. He was feeling very guilty. He was feeling very sorry. He was feeling very guilty. He says, forgive me. Forgive me. You don't know me, but I know you. You don't know me. I am that enemy of yours who swore to revenge himself on you because you put my brother to death and captured his property. So the bearded man says, I am your enemy. I came here to kill you. I wanted to take my revenge on you. I had taken a swear. We say no, mother promise, God promise, like that. The bearded man had taken a vow, had taken a promise somebody that he would kill the king because the king had defeated his brother and he had killed him and he had taken away his property. I knew you had gone alone to see the hermit and I decided to kill you. When you didn't return, I came out from my ambush to find you. But your bodyguards wounded me. I escaped from them and would have bled to death had you not dressed my wounds. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if you wish it, I will serve you as your most faithful slave. Give me. So, this bearded man was a very wicked man, I should say, because he had all dirty plans in his mind. When he got to know that the king is going to the forest to meet the hermit, and that too is not going like a king but is going like a common man and without any bodyguard, so he had planned evil. He wanted to follow him and he wanted to attack him and he wanted to kill him and take revenge. He wanted to take the revenge because the king had killed his brother and had taken away his property. The king did not know who this bearded man was. When he saw him wounded in a very critical condition, he approached him. He took care of him. He washed his wounds. He applied medicine. He bandaged it. He brought water for him. And not only that, he carried him into the hermit's hut and asked him to take rest so that he recovers. So the bearded man was feeling very guilty. He was feeling very guilty. He was feeling guilty because he had planned evil, but the man saved his life. And he says, from today onwards, if you want, you can take the revenge on me. If you want, you can kill me, or else I will be your faithful servant forever. I'll be your faithful servant. Now, scene 3 is over. This is scene 4. Scene 4 outside the hut. No, wait, there's a last paragraph. King, I forgive you. I am very glad to have made peace with my enemy and gained you for a friend. I will send my own physician to attend to you. I will also restore your property. So the king was very happy to know that his enemy had attacked him and he served his enemy. And he says, I forgive you. I will send a good physician, a good doctor from my kingdom to do your treatment, and I will return all your property in the sense, whatever you had taken, I will return it to you. Scene 4. Now outside the hut. King, for the last time I pray to you, answer my questions, wise man. You have already been answered. So the king is again requesting, pleading the hermit to answer the questions. So the hermit says, already been answered. For the last time, I pray to you, answer my questions, wise man. Hermit, you have already been answered. The hermit kneels on his thin leg and looks up at the king who stands before you. Who stands before him? King answered, how? What do you mean? Hermit, don't you see? If you hadn't pitied my weakness yesterday and had gone your way, that man would have attacked you and you would have been repented of not having stayed with me. So, the most important time was when you were digging the beds. The most important time was when you were digging the beds. I was the most important person, and to do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, the most important time was when you were attending to the wounded man. He would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important person, and what you did for him was your most important business. Remember, then there's only one time that's important. Now, it's the most important time because it's the only time when we have any power. The most necessary person is the one with whom you are, for no one knows whether they'll ever have dealings with anyone else. And the most important affair is to do them good, because for that purpose alone was a person sent into this life. So the hermit, he explains to the king how his his three questions are answered. The three questions what the king had asked the hermit. Children, we come across many people in life. We don't know who they are. We don't know what relation we have with them. We have not seen them many times. We don't know them. But sometimes we come across someone who is in need. And without any selfish motive, without any selfish um, selfishness, we go and help that person. Why? Because of our humanity. Because we are good persons, good heart. So what we do, what we think, how we help, is all depends on time. We never decide, oh, today I will go to school and I will do some good work to somebody. That never happens. When I go to the market, oh, today I'm going to the market. If I see some poor people sitting on the roadside, I will give them some money. It will be some help for them. No, it doesn't happen. Whatever happens, it is unplanned, unprepared. We have to be ready to face life as a challenge. We have to act then and there wisely. Things don't happen, what we decide never happens. But we have to use our common sense. We should be a good human being. We should have a good heart. We should have a helping nature, caring nature. If you have all these qualities, yes, you are always a good person. God is always with you. God will always help you. So the hermit, he explains to the king. He says, don't you see, if you hadn't pitied my weakness yesterday and had gone your way, that man would have attacked on you, and you would have repented, and you would have repented for not staying with me. The hermit says, yesterday when I was working, you came, you saw me, and you helped me. You had a good heart to help me. And if you had not helped me, and because I did not answer your questions, if you had gone away, that man was searching you. That bearded man was searching you to kill you. He would have killed you. And you would have repented for not staying with me. And the bearded man would have not repented, and you would get a chance to serve the bearded man, and the bearded man would not get a chance to serve you and ask for forgiveness and say sorry to you. Children, these are very important in life. We have to learn so many life values with our own personal life, with our own personal experience. Nobody will tell you to do so many things. You have to act wisely. So, this is the best values that we can learn in a daily life, in our family, in our friend circle, when we are teaching, when we are learning, with our friends, when we are playing, with the family, when we are eating food, when we are sitting together in the hall and watching TV. There are so many things to learn. Real life values. You have to understand and pick the good ones. So this is the values we have learned from this lesson. Tomorrow I will do the recap with tomorrow I will do the recap and I will show you a story. I will narrate to you a beautiful story related to this story of ours, and then you will learn so many things. You will understand what is life and what